The following information and opinions expressed on the Sweet Divorce podcast do not constitute nor are intended to be taken as legal advice. All content is generalized and for informational purposes only. Please contact our legal team or your own attorney for advice specific to your particular case. Thank you.
It's Sweet Divorce.
Life's sweeter after divorce. Let us help you get there.
Hello, welcome to Sweet Divorce Podcast. I am Rosario Burgos Santoyo, and this is my partner, Gretel Smith, here at Burgos Santoyo Smith. Today, we are celebrating Children's Health Day by talking to you about how you can communicate with your opposing party regarding your child's health.
Sometimes when, well, not sometimes, but often we have cases where parents come in and they're upset about another parent scheduling an appointment, doctor's appointment, or procedure for their child. And a lot of times it's just the failure to communicate. And so, what is the best way to communicate when your child needs medical care or mental health care?
Really, I think it varies from couple to couple, but the most important thing is to actually communicate. So if you're used to texting the other party or the other parent, then just shoot a text and say, oh, he's not feeling well today. I noticed he has a slight fever. I'm making him an appointment. Or his birthday's coming up. I'm going to schedule his checkup. Let me know if you want to be there. But really, however you're used to communicating, make sure that you do it that way. If you're usually text and you decide to send an email to an account that hasn't been used in a couple of years, that's not really as effective communication, because really the whole point of communicating is to let the other person know. So if you're letting them know with a medium that they're not using on a regular basis, then the notification actually didn't take place.
Absolutely. And if you're using like a parenting app, a co-parenting app like Our Family Wizard or Talking Parents, make sure you put it there, that either the appointment that you're setting, send them a message as well, because yes, they get a calendar notification, but they may not see that right away, but they might see the letter, the email. So just shoot a quick little note saying, hey, I made so-and-so their appointment for their checkup, and I put it on the calendar. If this doesn't work for you, let me know, we can reschedule it. That's if you both have joint legal custody, you both have the rights to be part of your child's healthcare decision making. Even if you have sole legal custody, right, and the other parent just has a right to be notified of what's going on, you still want to include them in those conversations and say,
Yes.
hey, I think so-and-so our child needs X, right? I think our child needs braces. What do you think? Even if you have that final decision authority, allow them to be part of that, because it's their child too. And sometimes they can bring a perspective that you might not see on the other side.
Yes. And at this age in particular, there are always so many reasons to take them to the doctor, whether it's braces, sports physicals, checkups, vaccinations, flu shots, all of those things. It's important to communicate with the other party because it helps keep your relationship being cohesive and so that you can parent as one unit, as a family unit. And also it's better for your child because you don't want one person to be making an appointment while the other person's also making an appointment. You want everyone to be aware if something were to happen and your baby's in the custody of the other parent. You want them to know the health conditions, any special dietary restrictions, whether or not they've had a flu shot, whether or not they've been vaccinated for a certain thing. Any medical updates that you have for your child, they need to be made known to the other party.
Right. And I mean, I think if the other party shows interest and they want to go to a doctor's appointment, make sure that you're scheduling it when they're able to do that. Not, oh, I know they're going to work this day, so I'm going to schedule it on this time so I don't have to see them. Again, this is about what's in your child's best interest. And co-parenting when you're not living in the same household takes a lot of trust.
Yes.
And one way to really destroy that trust is to start making unilateral decisions on your child's health. If you can bring that other parent into those decisions, even if they're always opposing what you want to do, at least they're part of it. And that is helping to build some of that trust so that your child grows up knowing that like their parents both have their backs.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break. Sweet Divorce will be right back after these messages.
Need help with your divorce? Not to worry. Here at Burgos Santoyo Smith, we have the answers to all your questions pertaining to court orders, mediation, family law, and healthy co-parenting. Find us at www.bsslegal.com or give us a call at 833-931-1615. That's 833-931-1615. We are here to serve you with several locations in California, from San Diego, Escondido, El Centro, and Monterey, and one location in Swansea, Illinois. Burgos Santoyo Smith. Life's sweeter after divorce. Let us help you get there.
Want more Sweet Divorce? Find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at BSS Legal.
So a situation that has come into light during litigation has also been medication for things such as ADHD or other behavioral conditions that have the option of being medicated. Some parents really disagree on that, whether they're together or not. It's a touchy subject because you're actually medicating your minor child, and everybody wants what's best for the child, but that doesn't mean that people believe in different schools of thought. So if you're in that situation, make sure that you start that conversation early so that you can both have time, one, to research what the side effects might be on the proposed drug, um, see the behavioral changes that you're trying to change in your child, see if maybe some other method might help as well, such as therapy or, coping exercises. But if the two of you cannot come to an agreement as to whether or not medication is right for your child, you may find yourself in a situation where you have to request sole legal custody of your child so that he's not being weaned at one household and then remedicated at another household, because that could be more damaging than either always medicating or always having him cope with not being medicated. So that's a situation that's really difficult, but there are legal solutions so that your child isn't negatively affected by your inability to agree to be on the same page about whether or not you want your child to be medicated.
Absolutely. And I think to build on what Rosario was saying, um, starting early on that process and communicating early will also allow you, sometimes just getting a second opinion, where, if one parent's really opposed to it, but then if they get to pick another doctor to have that second opinion and that doctor says, hey, you know what, I think medication is the right course,
Right.
that's enough to maybe help. And again, that helps bridge that gap and build that trust that you need when you're parenting. You both need to trust each other.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's hard sometimes to trust the other parent, when you're not in the same relationship. Um, but it's that, I think, is one of the key things when it comes to dealing with our children's health, is to trust, that the decisions that are being made for your child are the right ones.
And that's also true, like I said, of people that are together. So don't feel like this is a specific issue that you're having to deal with because you're not with the other parent. Parents that are in a relationship together are also very, opinionated
Right.
about things like medicating your child for ADHD or, getting
Depression.
even therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important, like I said, to start that conversation early, to communicate. Communication is really the key to everything, whether in a marriage, outside of a marriage. You really need to be open to communicate with the other person, because it's when you start trying to hide certain aspects, that's when you break down the trust, and then you can't really communicate about anything because no one's going to believe everything that you say.
Absolutely. I think the other thing that's important is that if you do have joint legal custody and there is something that you want done, for example, let's say a vaccination, because vaccinations are a hot topic.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't necessarily want them. And then there's a lot of people that do. And doctors are typically going to say, let's get the vaccination, right? But if you're in a situation where one parent doesn't want it and the other parent does, to make that decision and get your child vaccinated when you have joint legal custody could cause some problems on your end, because you're making unilateral decisions. Yes, are they in the best interest of the child? According to the doctor, they are. And we typically in courts, we're going to follow what the medical community is telling us to do with our children. But if you are at a position like that where, well, I want my child to get this vaccine and this parent doesn't want them to have it, take that in front of a judge. If you can't come to an agreement, don't just go and make that decision. So if there's an emergency situation, you can make a unilateral decision.
Yeah.
Because it's something that could be a life and death for your child. If it's a non-emergency situation, that's something where you want to take the time and go through the legal process to get it done correctly. Because if you make unilateral decisions on your child's health, on your children's health, it could negatively affect your custody time.
Yes.
Because it shows that you're not co-parenting with your other parent. And so it's best to try, one, to communicate what you think is in your child's best interest to the other parent. it's best to, back that up with with your doctor's recommendation.
Yes.
And then even if at that point they're saying it's a non-emergency situation and the other parent says, no, I still don't want to do it, then you can move forward and ask the court or ask a mediator to help you come to a resolution.
And like you mentioned, it's important to start building your evidence from the beginning. If there is, I mean, all of the reasons that you have to give your child whatever medical attention that you are advocating for, back that up because that probably came from a medical professional. So make sure that you have things in writing, make sure you have diagnosis, any information you might have on side effects or whatever argument that your co-parent is giving you as to why he or she does not want you to take that action. Well, make sure that you all consider it. Don't just dismiss the other person's opinion. Make sure you consider what you hear, research it, show that you've actually given it thought instead of just completely shutting down anything because of the person that it's coming from. If you have a very toxic co-parenting relationship, sometimes we tend to do that because we consider the source as opposed to actually listening to the words. But you always have to listen to the words when it's the parent of your child. You always have to consider them. You can't just dismiss people because if you start dismissing, then one of these bits of information may be crucial and impactful to your child. So make sure whatever they say, keep an open mind, listen, consider, and then make your decision and say why. I hear what you said. I disagree with that because of this, or I looked into that. I read the book that you said to read. I read the article that you sent me regarding side effects. I also researched it and came across this article, which counteracts what you showed me. But really, it's about communicating, and that's part of communication. Part of communication is listening well to the other person. So keep an open mind, keep an open ear, and keep an open heart.
Absolutely. And remember, it's always about your child's best interest, not what you want, not what the other parents want. And I think both of the times when it comes to our kids' mental, physical, dental health, all of that, we only want what's in the best interest of our children.
Yes.
And sometimes those are two opposing opinions. And so it's best also, I think, to just listen to the medical professionals because they're the people that have been trained to help us do what's in the best interest.
Yes. Let them do their job. And let your lawyer do his job too.
Exactly.
Or
And
her
then
job.
and don't be afraid to get a second opinion. A lot of health insurance these days actually allow that.
Yes.
There are a lot of companies now that will pay for a second opinion on major issues. So if there is something about whether, or not to medicate or to get our to have a surgery or to have braces versus this, it's worthwhile getting that second opinion because now you have more evidence to back up the decision that you're hoping that the court would make or that you can make. And hopefully the other parent then will come along and understand that that is in the best interest of your child.
Yes. So if you find yourself in a situation where you need guidance or help with making medical decisions for your child or getting a court order that allows you to do so, please reach out to our office for a consultation or to our website, bsslegal.com. We're happy to help.
Life is sweeter after divorce.
Let us help you get there.